Yeah, I got a special intro for you, Alex.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Here we go.
Okay.
Welcome to Crosstown Cardboard episode 77. And Craig is going to come up with a title for us on the fly. I just realized we haven't come up with a title yet, but we he has one in the chamber. Excuse me. He does. That's Craig, of course, at New York City Sports Cards, the math teacher and soccer coach in New York City. And I'm Carmine at Carmine's Cards, originally from Westchester County, New York, but now in Greenville, South Carolina. And we're making Crosstown Cardboard history today. We have our first international guest. Now, we've had a wide range of people. We've had men, women. We've had different ethnicities, different religions. But this is the first guest we've had who is living in a different continent. So, Craig, why don't you introduce our guest? And also, I know you have actually a special introduction for this.
Right on. So the title of this episode will be Collecting Across the Pond.
Yes.
Which you'll understand soon enough as to why. But yeah, Alex. So I came up with a little something for you. Just a little 8-bar freestyle. It's nothing. I'm just trying to get my Central C on for you. All right. We met at National while sitting on the floor of the hotel lobby. This man is like a brand, the way he's a UK ambassador for the hobby.
Oh.
This is my bloke, my mate, my chap, my bruv. Once you finish listening to this episode, you too will fall in love. He collects football cards despite living overseas, and his profession is coaching the youth and sending them off to soccer academies. His favorite players are Jude Bellingham and Patrick Mahomes because he only collects the stars. So let's give it up for Alex, a.k.a. London City Cards. Alex, welcome to the pod, my brother.
Wow, thank you so much. I'll tell you what, you're going to have to come to the streets of London with that. If you guys come out to London or the UK for a show, I'm going to give you the mic and you have to spit some lyrics. Thank you very much.
I am game for it. No, we're excited to have you on. Like I said, first guest from overseas. And do you recall how we first connected and met? I want to hear your rendition of it.
Yes, no, I remember when we met. Again, it was on the floor. It was a trade night at Chicago. And our eyes locked over some obsidian. I think what happened was obviously I had some cards and I was mooching around, and it's very different for us. When we went to the National, I went to Atlantic City in 2022. And then last year, obviously I went to Chicago, and we have trade nights. But obviously up to that point, I'd never seen anything like it. And, I saw you on the floor and everyone was so approachable. And then we connected. And if I remember right, I think it was a Lionel Messi card that we sort of, there it is.
That's a nice card. A chunky patch there.
I think I gave it to him for about $10 as well. So
we traded. Come on, you got to remember the trade.
I can't remember who I got back. I think I was drunk, but
nice. Just a few pints. No, it was the Jude Bellingham Future Stars Gold.
No, it was. I've still got that as well, but I've actually not got it on me now. I think he's down here somewhere in there. It's in the vault. The Jude Bellingham stuff's in the vault.
Good. So yeah. So you were in Chicago for National. Mm-hmm. How did you even discover this hobby in cards?
So I'm a little bit different. If your viewers want to go to my Instagram, London City Cards, I've been collecting a variety of things. I'd say what you call hoarder for around 25 years. Wow. And then COVID came. So previous to collecting cards and breaks, etc., I'd been into wrestling figures, soccer programs, vintage everything really. It's been the smell, it's been the look. And I'd always had Pokemon, nothing big. I haven't got first edition Charizard before people start getting excited. But obviously just the look. And I think what's always attracted to me, I've been a visual collector. So anything shiny. And I'm probably coming across as really strange and weird. But anything shiny for me, it really does sort of make the difference. And what happened was in 2020, obviously the pandemic hit, and I've been collecting cards. And I came across a couple of groups. And before I knew about breaking, PYTs, etc., and so forth, I started to obviously just look at my whole collection, and then I got connected with people in the UK, and here we are today, 4 years on. I probably got something like 50,000 cards. It's it's escalated, and I think I've grown a nice little community in the UK, and I love the hobby so much, and the Nationals obviously is the pinnacle, and it was something that I'd always wanted to do. I booked it, off the cuff in Cleveland, Atlantic City, and then last year Chicago was incredible. It was amazing.
Wow. Yeah, I was looking at all the variety, Alex, that you were talking about. Everything from boxing to American football to soccer to you in this Pokemon hat.
Well,
there you go.
That's great. So what's the now where do you land on, like, because I see there was a Joe Burrow I think flawless patch auto that you had there. Where do you land on the accumulating, like you said, being a hoarder, and also getting the really nice higher end cards? Like, how do you balance those two for yourself?
I think it's very important. Obviously, everyone's got a PC, but for me, it's just things that I'm really attracted to. So I'll keep them cards. I actually bought a lockup alongside my job as well, and I store some of my lower end stuff there. And then obviously, with regards to the majority of the UK hobby, and I know people are going to watch this back. I make a point of investing in long-term stuff as well. So as much as Mahomes is my PC, I do believe in that saying, every card has an end sale value. And on that Joe Burrow, I actually traded that in the National for a Patrick Mahomes rated rookie on card auto out of 35 purple.
Damn.
And a substantial amount of money on top. I won't disclose the figure, but obviously being a Chiefs fan, it's gone in the right direction. But I've been very lucky in my business. I'm very lucky that my job as a soccer coach has meant that I'm able to fund them higher cards. I actually did get that Joe Burrow from a friend of mine, 101 Sports Cards in the UK, Paul Hubbard. He's a big collector, and it's very hard for me to source things in England. And I've had to build relationships like I have with you guys, with people in America, with people in Canada that I trust, to be able to actually get them cards and access them and get them over to me. Because in the UK, there's a select few, some amazing people, but nothing like what you guys have on a weekly basis.
Yeah, no, look, I'm spoiled. I can go to a card show. I can go to a card show every weekend if I want, within a 30 to 40-minute drive. But I would imagine there's not too many other Mahomes collectors in the UK. Or correct me if I'm wrong there.
No. I think again, it's all going for a friend, but a friend of mine who's probably even bigger connected than me in the UK hobby actually said, like, you probably got the best Mahomes card in the country, and obviously that's a nice thing, but it wasn't done to sort of be done in a way that people would be like, oh my God, look at this guy, he's got this card. It's just something that I'm visually attracted to, and Patrick Mahomes actually gave me the love of NFL. I was. I think Craig knows his story. Like, a lot of people thought when I became a Chiefs fan in 2020, it was because of obviously the hot run and the Mahomes and how well everything was going on. But it's actually down to the red and white. I'm a Charlton Athletic fan. There's probably a lot of your viewers now Googling Charlton Athletic. We're in the third tier of English football, and we play in red and white. We did make the Premier League a few years ago. We're now horrendous, basically.
But you're loyal. But you're loyal to your team.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, yeah, apart from the booing, yeah.
I mean, I actually get the color scheme thing, because our podcast logo is blue and orange. We're big New York Knicks fans. So that color just, something triggers in my brain, makes me want to collect it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think also Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I still PC Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Again, it was something that when I watched him play, it just was like, this guy, I'm loving him. And I actually PC Jake Fromm, which is because of the Netflix documentary. I think we spoke about that before. So it's not hard for me to pick up one-on-ones. And that's obviously, again, that's a nostalgia thing for me at the point where I started to actually really get into NFL. And I love NFL now. I would say it's actually quite close with soccer because I do it for a job. Wow. I'd say it's quite close. My Sundays now, we've had no red zone. I actually have to talk to my family, which is a bit annoying.
I'm shocked you're calling it soccer, by the way.
Oh, I'm doing it for you guys. I'd
Oh,
never
thank
call
you.
it soccer in front of people in the UK.
Right. That's the Google Translate version for the majority of Crosstown Cardboard listeners.
Exactly.
That's great, Alex. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that's a cool guy to pick up because he was electric too with Joe Burrow at LSU and that great team and the national title.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you describe the card scene in the UK versus the taste of it that you've had at the couple nationals in the US?
I think first of all, as you guys have touched upon, you've got shows 30, 40 minutes from where you live. I'm not sure if it's the same in South Carolina, but for us, when I actually first properly got into it, and that's probably why I became friends with the majority of the people in the UK hobby. I don't really care if you collect 50p cards, base cards, or collect £10,000 cards. It doesn't really make no difference to me. I think it's just great that I've got people that are like that. I don't know, before you guys connected, a lot of my friends was when they heard I collect bits of cardboard with men's faces on it. I got some quite weird looks. People looked at me, and I don't really care. It's what I enjoy. And then obviously I discovered this whole new thing in America. In England, very, very quickly we have the London Card Show, which is fantastic. A little shout out to a guy called Harry Reynolds, who runs it. It's grown from a sports hall into one of Europe's biggest shows. And I know one of your guests previously, Wiz, I actually connected with him there, and he called me the Fleece King, which I thought was quite interesting. I think he was still jet lagged at the time.
Was he saying, Alex, that you fleeced him in a deal?
Oh, he's absolutely, he's one of the greatest guys I've ever met, but I came out of there with bandages on parts of the body I didn't even notice. There's no way I'm the real Fleece King. And he actually came across a guy called Hobbybox Luke, who's Lucas is huge. If you've not seen Luke, he's huge in the UK. We actually didn't know we grew up 10 minutes away from each other. And we're very connected now. And Wiz actually made a video at the Burbank show saying that I'm not the actual Fleece King. He's met the real Fleece King of London, which is Luke. But Luke's done loads for the UK hobby as well. And what I've tried to do along on my journey, I have an English, what we call the Card Bros chat. So people that want to be part of that community, like a WhatsApp group, we have a community there. And I've also made some international friends, Barat Cards and numerous other people that I've met and done deals with, because as I'm sure I know you guys get a lot more, but I've got no time, as a lot of people haven't, for scammers and stuff like that. So just trying to grow a good community, but making friends up. That's what I've done. Some of my best friends are now actually from this community, 100%, million percent.
Listen, you're preaching to the choir. I talk to Carmine every week, more than most of my other friends. So there you go.
Exactly. Listen, this is it, and it's like you say, that common interest. And as I look at some of my cards right now, I'm looking at, like I've got some cards ready for grading. There's a Cade Cunningham, but it's got a man's face in it. It's kind of, what am I doing?
It's what we like.
That's what I do.
Honestly, the connections are amazing, though. The fact that, so I'm wearing a Bleecker trading hoodie. Have you heard of Bleecker?
Yeah.
So that's like one of my local shops. About 2 months ago, I was set up at an event there, right next to Wiz. Wiz flew in from Atlanta. Yeah. So there, me and Wiz set up together. Fast forward a month later, there's Wiz with you doing deals at a card show, and now here we are recording a podcast.
And we saw Wiz at Culture Collision in Atlanta.
Yeah. So all of our worlds just collide into one. It's pretty special.
We're walking or getting public transport. He's going his private jet. There's no doubt. Wiz, that guy. Yeah. But honestly, such a nice guy. And again, I know he wants more people to come out to the UK. And there's some great shows. We just had the Dublin Card Show, which is run by Enzo and others. And what's starting to happen in Europe now, the shows are getting bigger and bigger. And again, we have got a massive community of Pokemon collectors, but we've also got a community of just sports card collectors. And we've actually got a show in 2 weeks, Milton Keynes. I don't know if you've heard of them through football. Milton Keynes Dons. Next to their stadium, a friend of mine, Mark, Sports Card Social, he's got a show which is going to be great. And these shows have gone, because I've been sort of there from the start, from 20 tables, 30 tables, to 100 tables and a few thousand people attending some of the bigger ones over the weekend. It's amazing.
That's great. That's great.
What's your style, real quick? Like, are you buying? I know, obviously, I mean, you kind of addressed this. You said you're a hoarder, but you're buying, you're trading, you're selling. Like, are you
Yeah, I
trying
mean,
to flip?
I do a bit of everything. To be fair, I've started to actually gradually go towards trading as well. I think that's how you get a fantastic deal, and that's actually what me and Wiz did. We did a deal. Like I say, we just sort of worked it out, and with trading, again, you get value for value. I mean, Wiz got about $20,000 worth more value than me, but it's
he's the real police.
Like I say, it was such a good deal, and it's nice. It's nice for us because obviously we see guys like yourself on your podcast, which is amazing, and we see Mojo and everyone else that does the show. I don't, and I've met some of the guys. I met Ryan Card Collector at Atlantic City, and it's just nice for us to know that there's that bigger community, and we want that in the UK, and I think it's starting to gradually happen. There's some serious people doing some serious things with their collecting, but again, everyone's got their own thing: buying, selling, trading.
Yeah, and if you want to hear more about Wiz, you could check his podcast episode that we did, I don't know, a few months ago. It was a great one. I wanted to run through a brick wall after talking to Wiz about his motivation and his grind to get, selling cell phones and stuff like that to what he is now. So I'm interested, Alex, because and anybody who follows along with our podcast or YouTube knows that I've been going down this ticket lane. Yeah. And like alternate, sports tickets. And I recently, at one of the recent card shows here in South Carolina over the past weekend, Mealy Pops, they had a bunch of different dealers in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And they had, one guy had a bunch of newspapers. Yeah. And they were, and if you check my Instagram, Carmine's Cards, you'll see photos of it.
I saw it.
Yeah. So like, and I'm wearing the Chicago Bulls 6-time champion t-shirt. They were all about the Chicago Bulls during the 90s and all, different newspaper covers of like the Chicago Sun-Times, Chicago Tribune, referencing their championship wins. And I ended up getting them for like $2 or $3 a piece, like 13 newspapers. I'm like, we talk about the cool to cost ratio. Yeah. How cool is that item for the cost of what it's going to, require? So I'm curious though, because, Christopher Columbus coming across the pond back in the late 1400s, the U.S. is only a few hundred years old, and so as far as like, Europeans coming here, of course, but I'm curious, what's the vibe as far as like the history and either tickets or memorabilia or even items like, Queen Elizabeth or stuff like that in the UK, because the history is so much further back than, Europeans coming to the US. Like, is there a market, or what's that kind of market like?
Yeah, there's a market for everything in the UK. I think, like you say, wherever you go. And again, it's I actually collect soccer programs as well, and I actually like pre-war stuff. Okay. It brings me back to the smell of stuff, and the actual antiquities smell. And again, we had a lot of. I'm a visual collector as well, so as much as I suppose it's a hoarder, I wouldn't just go up to a desk and then just collect 20, 30,000 cards and go, oh look, this is brilliant. I need to actually look at something and feel attracted to it. It's one of those things, and everyone collects everything here. Coins is a big thing that people collect, and stamps in the UK. There's all these different markets and places, and because I suppose I'm a little bit different to some other card collectors. I'm not saying all, but from my own experience, I know some of these people that collect these coins and stuff. And again, it's what people, it's a visual thing. I found that with an awful lot of people. I don't know if that's the same in the States, but a visual collector. And when you say about, like you say, the newspaper cuttings, to actually just have that, and someone would have read that the next day after the event, I think that's so cool. And,
right.
A couple of dollars, someone might have been still drunk from the night before. It's fantastic. Someone's lobbed the paper on their front lawn, and they've gone out and got it. And you've waited because obviously, what year did you say it was? 96?
Yeah, it was like it was like spanning from like 92. None of them pertain to the first championship, but it was like 92 to 98. And there were quite a few, like, at the end of the first three-peat and then the second three-peat Yeah, I thought it was great. I'm like, dude, you're giving these things away.
Oh, of course. I mean, like you said, we didn't have cell phones. Like, obviously, we log on now, don't we? We just go onto our phones, and you can find out everything you want. But I don't think anything that is within your hand, and that's why when you see people say about having a card in hand, I understand it. When I had a lockup before, I'd go down there because I've got a variety of wrestling figures, Bret the Hitman Hart, I PC Bret the Hitman Hart as well. British Bulldog.
Okay.
I used to stand in there. I mean, if someone walked past me, I'm lucky I didn't get sectioned. Because if someone walked past, I'd just stand in the middle of it and I'd be looking at my stuff, and for the feel. And it's the same with my cards as well. I mean, even here, I was looking at it's look at that. There's Jake from Grid. What's that worth? A cent, It's just like, I think it's a cool image. And again, it's just stuff that I like looking at. So, but there is a big market for historical stuff. And there's so many collectors of everything in the UK. And like you say, the Queen, etc. We're very patriotic. I've actually got a big England flag tattooed on my back, but I don't want your two lady viewers to get a little bit hot under the collar when I take my top off. So we'll leave that for another day. We'll do that for a private view.
Private viewing.
Bonus content.
Exactly. Yeah. Click on the link below.
Nice. I've been dying to ask you about this.
Yes, please.
Dying. So as you know, there are a lot of whack jobs in this hobby. Mm-hmm. Just like there are people in general. So just to name a few, people on Instagram who will leave you on red. Yeah. People who maybe might show you a little attitude online, or people who don't have those people skills. Mm-hmm. So you're not afraid to address these people. And I know you didn't want to use this word, but you described them as, I think at one point you said, because I have the DMs here, like, man, I swear there are some of the thickest people in this hobby. And I didn't know what you meant by that, but I know this is something you're very passionate about. So
of course.
Thick, simpletons, whatever word you want to use, can you just talk about these people in the hobby and why they rub you the wrong way?
Yeah, no. So when I say about simpletons, I think there's two ways to look at it. It's incredible to me when you go to a card show, and I've experienced this, or online. For example, I think I've got about 1,300 followers on Instagram. It's not about who's got a bigger dick. It's about who's got bigger knowledge. And I've met so many people that in this hobby that have helped me so much. So many people in the early days, because I didn't know anything. So rather than me sort of try and be in your face, I've grown my knowledge. I think I know enough now. I don't know everything, and I'm learning all the time about the way that people buy, sell, and trade. But for example, like you'll get a card, and as you touched on, I'm a Jude Bellingham collector. I actually PC'd Jude from a long while ago. I'm very lucky that I've got his Topps Chrome Black Refractor PSA 10, which I know is a very sought after card. And again, that's in the vault, but that was because I watched him play for Birmingham City against my team, the mighty Charlton Athletic in the third league, or shit. But it's I thought I'd plug it again. But it's one of those things where what will happen is, you'll be interested in a card of a player that's doing well, or you're interested in a set of cards, and people will give you a price that is so gigantic and so off of the market value. They must think that I'm thick. I'm not thick. I'm not intelligent. I'm not Einstein. I'm not going to start coming out with some algebra and stuff. I can barely say the word algebra, but I'm not going to start coming out with something that's going to make you go, oh my God. But, do you not think I know about 130 point? Do you not think I know about eBay last sold? Do you not, and it gets harder and harder because you come across these people, and especially when you're at UK shows. And again, I don't hide it, like people are going to watch this. I'm going to put it on my London City cards. Some of my best friends are from it, as I've said again. But, if you're going to treat people like that, that relationship's going to last very little, because I just sort of find it a bit of a sign of disrespect that you don't think that I'm actually going to go and check comps. You don't think that I'm actually going to do my own research. I've met some incredible people, but there is a few simpletons within the hobby that I've met all around the world who treat people like we don't know how to go on Google on 130 point. Even I can do that. And I've got no masters, no degree, no university. And I think that's where it's that difference between I've been able to build some fantastic lifelong relationships. I really feel that strongly. and with people that I just never will deal with, block them on Instagram, or just go, I'll never deal with that person at a show. Because what's the point? You know, I'm 37. I've got a receding hairline. I've probably got another 5 years until I pass away. You know, I've not got no time for it. You know, my family are going to sell my Patrick Mahomes rookie on my London C cards for probably an eighth of the cost to the simpleton. But at the moment,
go back to a simpleton.
it's going to come in with a £52 offer. You know, and it'd probably be, you know, probably negotiate to £55. But I think it's just, that's why I'm passionate about it, because people go into this hobby, in my opinion, and I think they see it as a huge way of looking of making a second income. And I don't really think they understand, especially in the UK, how hard it is. My London City Cards is a limited company in the UK. We're fully registered. We pay taxes. You know, I'm fully legitimate and above board. But when I make any money through that hobby and through the account, you know, it's what I want to see by general, you know, transactions and fair transactions. I'd never want to lose a friend over a card. Never in a million years. And I wouldn't treat anyone like that. And if anyone who I've dealt with before feels like I've treated them, you know, unfairly, they can write in the comments. It's no problem, because I've had trolls bash me about things. You know, I'm not sure if you saw a couple of weeks ago, I had someone with a fake account, you know, start to take pictures of me at a show and or print screen my pictures and call me out and stuff. And it's no problem. It doesn't, you know, working in the world of soccer, I couldn't give a fuck. So,
wow, you have people taking pictures of you at shows?
Print screens and stuff, and people just obviously mentioned about, you know, some of the cards that I've managed to secure, but very similar to Wiz. And, you know, like, I got that impression from him. You know, this is 23 years, my business. You know, when I grew up, you know, my holidays were to a local caravan park. You know, for £9.50, we had to collect vouchers from a newspaper. And, you know, I've now got one of the biggest soccer schools in the whole of London. I'm very lucky. We've got around 2,000 kids a week. And people don't know that about me. It's not arrogance. It's not arrogance. You know, it's a lot of dedication and a lot of work. And I've lost a lot of things along the way, but I've gained a lot of things with the cards and the love of the hobby. And like I say, it's only a small minority, but I think it's a case of when you know people that know their stuff within the hobby and you still want to treat them with that little bit of, like, you know, 10x a card. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's never going to work. You know, and then it goes with the also where, you know, I've had people reach out to me, which is nice, I suppose, in card groups in the UK or on Instagram, and people have wanted a little bit of guidance because they're brand new to what we're doing. And I don't want anyone to be put off in the hobby. I want the hobby to grow in the UK and so forth. Basically, I'm John Lennon. You know, I want everyone to be like, everyone be one, you know?
Well, I did say in the intro, I called you a UK ambassador, and I really meant that because
I appreciate it.
I feel like you're one of the most Americanized UK collectors in terms of what you collect and your exposure, like the fact that you've been to shows in America. And maybe this is a stretch here, but everything you're talking about, it seems like you're in this hobby for the long haul, right? It's not like buy a card, quick flip. You like to hoard your stuff. You like to collect your stuff. You're not about a quick transaction. You're about the relationship.
Yeah.
And you also coach young kids, right? You're not coaching these teenagers and sending them off to pro teams. No. Just like when you coach these young kids, it's the big picture. It's long-term development, right? So I kind of see a lot of parallels here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I'm very different. You know, I coach children from the age of 18 months. You know, I'm very blessed, and they're 18 months. You know, like you can check it out. AW football coaching. It's we're actually working with some big players at the moment. You know, I've got some contacts, and it's been a very interesting couple of years. But I'm a specialist with that, and I've spoke about coming over to America. You know, and hopefully delivering some of the things that we do. You know, there is a serious side to me, but I think when you deal with as many parents as I deal with on a weekly basis, you start to grow this, you know, this way with people. There we go, AWS there, and let's move with lines. There you can see I was a line trainer as well. You know, there's me and some of the kids, and there we go. So there's, you know, I've had a variety of jobs, and like with the hobby and the way that it translates into obviously my job. I think it's them relationships with the genuine people. There's so many parents in England that think their kids are the next big thing. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Get out my face.
Leave me alone.
Get out my face. That's it. And I tell them that's the problem. I have a reputation for that because all I care about is kids. I love kids, and not in a way that obviously is bad. It's just working with children and developing them. And seeing them grow, and it's the same with the hobby as well. And touching on the fact that it's not going to be for the long haul, 100%. I have a vision that I want to be retired by the age of 50, and sit in a caravan in Spain in my boxer shorts, drinking Spanish beer, with someone playing a guitar, and I'm looking at my Patrick Mahomes around my neck with one of those big chains that you guys walk around. It's a very simple life that I want to lead, and that's it, really.
What a scene right there. 50 years old, Patrick Mahomes chain. I'm imagining the jersey, maybe taking a siesta in between, some jamon and some, Spanish beer. That sounds like a great plan.
He'll have 9 Super Bowls by then, and your collection will be looking real nice.
Oh, right. You're looking okay. I'll fly you guys out, no problem.
I'm in. Yes. Yeah. So
No,
sorry, go ahead, Craig. Go ahead.
No, you got this.
Well, I was curious, Alex, what do you view as, you're talking about the long term and this retirement plan, which Patrick Mahomes is a major part of, but what do you view as an investable card? Like, what are you trying to look at in the long term, or a few players or a few types of cards that you're like, this is what I really want to invest in for the future?
I think it's, what I've started to correlate now is obviously when you look at Tom Brady and his early rookie cards and autos, etc. and stuff, like any numbered stuff. And it's the same with LeBron and obviously, rest in peace, Kobe. I've seen the market with LeBron and Jordan and Kobe go up greatly. Now that we're starting to I think the market's starting to diversify slightly away from the rookie market. No disrespect to the last NFL, like with Kenny Pickett, etc. Let's be honest, CJ, I don't think the Kenny Pickett year was massive, and I think people have gone back to what they feel comfortable with. Even so much, I'm a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, and this was before we had the unbelievable start to season. This is when we were shit. People were like one of my good friends, Ben Johnson. I'll give him a shout out here, BB Cards UK. He told me about the Timberwolves, and he actually gave me some fantastic early knowledge in the hobby. And I became a Timberwolves fan, and I'd stay up, and obviously because of the time difference, and watch. And Anthony Edwards, I think, is a fantastic long-term hold. I think there's some great similarities. Mm-hmm. I think if you look at the Thunder, with the amount of picks they've got coming up, I think it's over the next 4 or 5 years possibly. And obviously SGA, Holmgren. Josh Giddey, now that he's not touching kids, there's some. They've obviously got a fantastic squad, and I think even if you look at them this year, top of the West at the moment, it's them. I'm very much sort of looking at that greater thing, but I'm also very aware that there will be a big push in how many years it will be with regards to Brady and Kobe and MJ and your legends. At the moment, I'm collecting a lot of cards, for 2026 World Cup American player cards. I think I've got about 300 at the moment that range from gold prism to Pulisic early autos and rookie cards. And again, that will be to fund my adventure in 2026 to the American World Cup, which you're all invited to, because I'll probably be there, Larry no mates and, flying the England flag and getting heckled by American soccer fans. So here we go. Let's do, you simpletons.
That was my exact idea, is you start thinking about the World Cup now, and eventually those cards will fund, well, for you, an entire trip. But for me, I'm just thinking like tickets.
We've got to keep it quiet, though. We've got to keep it quiet. Let's just keep it between
Yeah. Let's mute our mic. Yeah.
I'm sure no one else had that idea before. No, listen, the final is a 45-minute drive for me.
That's incredible.
Unbelievable, right?
That's incredible.
You have a card that was once mine, and I could live happy knowing that it's in your collection, because I am pretty sure it's now worth probably 3 times what I paid.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Jude Bellingham Topps Paper 1/1 foil fractor.
That's in the vault.
Good.
I was
Good. Don't move that card, please.
No.
Please don't. At National, I bought that for $500 US.
Wow.
I sold it a few hours later for $1,000, and then a day or two later, it ended up in your collection.
Yeah,
I could live with that. I could live with that, knowing that it's yours.
I'll give you $10 when I sell it. No problem.
Right. Okay.
$10. Send me your paper. Actually, make it $5.
Nice.
How much do you think that's worth now, Alex? Is it really 3x what you?
I think the first edition, because there was 2 versions, wasn't there? I think.
Yeah, there was a first edition and a non.
I think I might have it here on my phone, but I think one just sold on Card Hobby the other day, actually. I don't know if I've got it very quickly.
Greg is bracing himself for this.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
No,
Maybe I don't want to know.
No, I don't know if I can find it, but again, this is something that I've started to obviously realize as well, because people have obviously said about the Mahomes from when I got it. I think I got it for around, with trade, etc., for around $11,000 in Chicago, with trade and cash. And someone mentioned the other day, maybe worth between 18 and 20, but again, I like to go to the vault and look at it and touch his face, and then
touch his face
and then put it back.
I'm imagining like, Patrick, you winner. What a winner you are, man.
Sometimes I've got a little mini ball and I throw it to each other. And I put this jersey on, and
you can have like Kelsey and Mahomes just right here.
I actually put a piece of string between their cards, and I just throw them from side to side.
See, now we're thinking. Now that's a great idea.
But no, again, that stays in the vault, and there's some cards that I've been very lucky to get in at a good price point, and unlike what I've personally met in the hobby, a lot of people. I'm not really in it for the quick flip. I have moved cards quickly. Of course, I'm not going to say I don't, but I'm more of a collector. I mean, even I'm looking at now. I can just show you a selection of cards. I mean, there we go. Look at this first one I ever picked up, Jacob Eason. Like, what's that doing in my collection? I liked it because it's blue.
Because it's blue.
It's sort of, you sort of go through things. This was quite a big one, which is your Alex Morgan. Out of 5 select.
Oh, that's cool.
All right. You dabble with the American soccer players.
Yeah, we dabble. Yeah, I told you we dabble.
So what exactly is that Patrick Mahomes? I know you mentioned Alex, but what exactly is the parallel, the set, and is that your biggest Mahomes that you have?
It's done Ross Optic rated rookie on card out of 35 purple.
Okay.
It was just like I said, it was a growl card. And again, it's just something that I got into the Joe Burrow at quite a very good value in the UK. Actually, I bought it within the UK, and obviously to have a card like that in the UK, and then obviously I waited to the National, traded up, and again, it's when I've been to America, I find that you guys, especially people that are vending, that are dealers, etc. It's a lot quicker to do them deals. It's a lot quicker.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot quicker to have them discussions. Time is money, and I appreciate it because I know how much some of the tables are, and again, you can work out within that first 10 seconds if you're going to be able to do some sort of deal.
I was going to ask you the biggest difference between not the hobby as a whole, but like the UK collector versus the American collector.
I think it's where I would say I know 85 to 90% of the UK collectors. I genuinely think that it's that I've met through shows. I try and be very social. I try not to take life too seriously. My mum sadly passed nearly 3 years ago now, and that taught me, like, fuck, man, life is short. Like, wow, and again, this is what I enjoy doing. And in the UK, it's very hard to not know people because you go to the big shows, like the marquee ones. And where I set up these WhatsApp groups or chats on Instagram and stuff, it obviously brings it a lot closer. Whereas with you guys, you know, you said you're 35, 40 minutes to a show. You can meet new people all the time, meet new people. I mean, when I went to the National in Atlantic City, you know, apart from the no Wi-Fi, you know, and trying to get a signal was like trying to contact ET, you know. It was unbelievable, you know, it's incredible. I felt like I was in a shoebox. But apart from that, obviously, you know, it was like Disneyland for me and the people that I went with.
Right.
You know, it was incredible. You know, we was welcomed, and again, we had so many great events. But I think the biggest difference really is the way that you guys can obviously move cards a lot quicker. You know, we with us, we have to wait for them bigger shows. There's an incredible amount of shows coming up. There really is. The UK market is growing, and every show I've been to has had its constructive points. Every single show, you know, but for me, it's about meeting people. You know, it's about, you know, connecting. And I'm lucky that I don't need to sell everything to keep my love of the hobby. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking up here, Alex, and thanks for sharing that personal story about family. I think that's a great perspective also. You know, sometimes those reminders are really important. I'm looking up this sale on the, just because I'm so interested with you wearing the Mahomes jersey and talking about, you know, picking up that card. So I'm looking up the same card that sold for best offer on January 30th. So about a month ago.
At $6,000.
No. You might like this. It was numbered, same thing as yours, numbered out of 35 with the auto. So same card. And is there a grade on yours, or is it wrong?
PSA 9. I got 9. Yeah. PSA 9.
So you might like this. So this is a BGS 8.5 with an 8 auto. So you got to factor that in. That's going to detract from the value. It's going to lessen it. Sold for $8,750 in an 8.5 with an 8 auto of the same card you have. So your PSA 9, I think you're in it at a good price at 11,000. You said,
around 11,000.
Yeah, that seems good to me.
That was pre-Super Bowl too.
That's right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, pre third Super Bowl and another MVP. So there you go.
I actually told my girlfriend that I got it for £10 because if I told her how much these things cost, I don't know if she'd be with me anymore.
Did she believe that?
Absolutely not. She knows I'm a delinquent.
Maybe you could have said 500, and that would have been somewhat believable.
She's got a handbag collection, so we're okay.
Okay.
I was gonna say, as long as she's getting gifts and flowers, you keep doing what you're doing.
I know. I can buy them herself. No, fuck that.
All right, fair enough.
That's great. We had a good episode on the last one talking about Craig and how his wife got him some great card related gifts, and that 3-layered cake that he got with edible cards from his PC, and then she got him and then she got him a Knicks program from the 1973 championship year. So that was pretty cool. And that kind of, and I met somebody at the show actually in South Carolina here that the wife was taught. It was at the same newspaper table where I got the Chicago Bulls newspapers, and this husband and wife, they're probably about 60 years old. And it was kind of a similar story to yours where she's like, yeah, he's got this. She was showing me photos and videos of this whole man cave room, but it was right off their entrance. So you walk in the house and it's directly to the left. And I'm like, wow, that's so great that you allowed him to do that. And the brownie points that, that probably gets with you. And he probably can't complain about anything. He has to do the dishes, do the trash, cook, do everything that you want him to do. And she's like, well, kind of, but I have a whole room for my Barbie collection. So it's kind of like a give and take. And I'm like, that's important though in a relationship. To each have your own stuff.
Oh, 100%. And she's very supportive. Obviously, I'm joking. Of course, I've added to a Hamburg collection, and it's same again. She buys me a hobby box sometimes for my birthday is actually Wednesday. So I'm sure
that's when this is going to air.
Yeah.
Is it? There we go.
Love it.
Wowza.
You could say happy birthday. Listen to my podcast.
This is it. The birthday episode. Yeah, this is it. So, it's she's always looking out to buy me some gifts and very thoughtful. And, we're actually coming out to the States. Like I say, she's coming to Burbank for 2 days, but I might be coming to New York. Actually, we're going to be doing a a sort of road trip, and obviously it'd be cool to hook up for dinner if you're around.
Oh,
and
dude, hit me
show
up.
us the sights, because I haven't been to New York in a long while, but I loved it when I visited before.
Obviously, I'll hook you up with the right card people too.
Oh, 100%. You know,
You'll go to Bleecker. Oh, you'll love it there.
100%.
Now, I mean, we want this whole pie to grow, because the more people, the more cards, money, relationships, everything. And I don't know. I've always thought, especially when I'm thinking about soccer cards, there'll be an uptick in interest as more European, even like South American participants enter this hobby. So what does Europe need to do to grow their participation in this space?
What, in the soccer space?
No, just the hobby in general.
I think we definitely need to get a PSA European grading hub. I think that is. I'm actually sort of amazed that we haven't had one, because I think what I found with a lot of people that I've spoke to within the hobby is, you've got to remember, unless we obviously use, you know, a fast track service, you know, if we don't use the value bulk, you know, etc. and so forth, even sending it out there might take 5 days, 7 days. And then obviously, you know, then the grading process, and then coming back. And as we know, that doesn't work. Because, you know, I mean, obviously when it was on value bulk for a long while, I mean, you know, at the height of the hobby, you know, sort of 2001, you know, you could be waiting 6 months for cards, and you know, they're coming back, you know, not 2x in a good way, 2x down, because obviously it's taken so long. So I think a PSA European hub needs to be created. I think that within the hobby as well, it's just doing and saying and opening people's eyes to the right thing, because it's grown so much since I've actually been in the hobby. You know, it really has. I mean, you know, I know that when we went to Chicago, there was around 15 of us from the UK scene, which I thought was quite impressive. And then I know that Burbank, I think there was about 6-7 people that went. Now that might not sound a lot, but again, it's people that are trying to go to the States and then bring back them cards, you know. I know that Luke, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, and a few others, Gorilla Breaks, and Ben Hatley, my friend, who's got some huge cards, to be fair. He's a very quiet, probably one of the best looking men in the hobby as well. I don't like standing next to him. It makes me feel sick. You know, but he came back with some huge cards. But I think we need to actually close that space between us sending stuff to America, and even something like a consignment as well, a consignment hub. Because I use DC Sports. This isn't an endorsement, by the way, but I'm just saying I use DC Sports. I know that a lot of my friends use ComC. And I think, again, it's just sometimes that time between sending from Europe into America, you know, and as you say, when you do things, I mean, my last consignment was for the Super Bowl, and I'm very lucky. The people at DC Sports asked them to finish the listings on the time the Super Bowl was kicking off, you know. So I'm trying to get, you know, value for my buck. It was just cards I collected because I do things, you know, for the future as such. And I had a Brock Purdy auto, but I think that's the main thing, you know, trying to build European hubs for the main sources of, you know, grading and consignment. I think that would really help.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that convenience. I mean, you have so many more opportunities to add value, you know, like getting that PSA submission back and then selling it for 2x or whatever grade you might get, reinvesting that back into the hobby, and then, you know, getting that liquid money back from a consignor. But like you said, if you're shipping it across the pond and you're waiting for all that extra time, paying all that extra shipping, and you invest in somebody like Mac Jones, then, you know, one season you could go from $1,000 on that card to $100 on that card in one season.
100%. 100%.
Well, hey, maybe you could be the consignor one day.
Well, I'm not. Them 2,000 kids a week are doing.
Yeah, maybe not. When you retire, you'll start your card.
I'll be in my pants. We've already spoke about this. Go on, Nick.
You know what was interesting, Alex, as we, you know, kind of come to a close here, that you mentioned, and I had referenced, you know, the voyage of Europeans coming to America, which, you know, is so long ago, so far from our realm of what's relevant to us. But it is a connection between us. And it's just funny that, you know, they're discovering when they're coming from Europe, landing in America, and they're discovering all these new, agricultural, all these new things to eat, all these new, furs. Now all of a sudden fur sales are going crazy in the UK and in Europe, and they're, goods and herbs and spices and everything they're sending back. It reminded me of, that's not too far off from your friends going from Europe to Burbank or to America, buying these cards, or whatever they end up coming back with. And then now they have these goods and items to sell back in Europe. It's almost like, of course, there's way different goods and items that are coming back, 400 years ago or whatever that are now. Yeah. But in a way, it's kind of a parallel thing where you're being exposed to new cards, new players, new items, and just a volume of stuff that can come back and be traded on a barter system or sold for cash or bought. It almost seems like more similar than you might think. Yeah,
like I said, it's actually quite exciting for us, because when people go to the US, because obviously they're not, the people that I know that have gone, I'm sure there's one or two that go separately from sort of group chats and stuff, but you're going there and you're going to bring back some heat. You're going to bring back some heat. You're not going to come back with a Jake from Gridiron Kings.
Right. You're on a mission if you're making that long trip.
Yeah, of course you're on a mission, and again, it's you're trying to, the relationships are great, but again, you're looking for them big cards. The cards are getting bigger, in the UK, I know there's a massive scene in Germany, and the cards now, are really getting to that stage where people are, traveling internally within Europe to see them cards. And now that we've got them in England, like I said, there's another gentleman called Jamie Salt, Jamie UK card collector.
I know Jamie.
I was out with Jamie a few months ago. We went to the local pub, which I'd love to take you guys to watch the boxing. Anthony Joshua, and flips out of his bag a $25,000 Ronaldo Messi first year World Cup prism. Just slaps it on the desk like, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Thanks for coming.
Jamie had a great line. I was talking to him at National. Yeah. So I asked him, I'm like, are there any American soccer players that you guys like over there? And he's like, no, they're all shit. We just bring them here and sell them to you guys.
Pulisic, he's done Pulisic dirty there.
Yeah. Come on, he's a stud.
Pulisic is, he's your Captain America, and I'm sure in 2026, you never know. There might be a big breakout star. I think that's what America's missing at the minute. You have Balogun, and he's going to be solid. But I think that's when I think there's going to be a big boom. Sorry, I'm going to slide off topic, but the big boom in the soccer market will be 2026. Around May 2026. I think there's going to be a huge boom. And what American soccer needs now is, no disrespect, you don't want it to be a centre back. You don't want it to be a fullback. You want it to be a striker or a centre midfielder. And if you have one that breaks through in the next 6 months, and breaks into the squad and the national team, what a hype that would create for the hobby as well, to chase something. Because Wemby's obviously, it's like Wemby at the moment, isn't it, in the NBA? Everyone's going mad in the UK. If you had a breakout star in soccer in America, it'd be amazing for everyone.
Is it not Christian Pulisic, Alex? You don't believe in him to continue to elevate, or is it too late for him?
He's, as we would say in London, from where I'm from, he's a dead man thing. He's all right. He's obviously, he's okay. But as in terms of a rookie to break through, an 18, 19-year-old that starts causing a madness,
like a Bellingham, but for the US.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, if you had a breakout star like that, I think it would help, the hobby. It would help card values, and more importantly, the interest. Because I think what I've found is that people, when they actually start to understand that you can collect sets, because I've got sets as well. I collect sets. I'm a bit more selective now for space reasons, but I think when you actually look at things, pardon me, in the hobby now, when you look at the players, like the likes of Pulisic and Balogun and everything, they've sort of peaked a little bit, and they will be a rise, I think, in 2026, towards that World Cup time. But if you had a massive rookie come out, that'd be brilliant for everyone, to chase it.
You need that guy to identify with, like how Patrick Mahomes, got you interested in football there, and of course with the team colors. But like you're even seeing it in women's college basketball. Like I got this Angel Reese, RPA, for LSU, and she's
Is that
got
keepsake?
It's yeah, it is.
I'll buy some keepsake. They're cool cards.
Is that a UK brand?
No, I think it's a Chinese brand. I think it's.
Oh, okay, yeah. I had no
I
idea.
like the cards. And I love on the back where it shows you where it's from.
Right,
Sorry,
right.
It looked plugged there for the.
I mean, it's super cool. It kind of reminds me of an off-brand like Leaf, but they make something real cool, and it's the inside tongue of the shoe for Angel Reese, but like Caitlin Clark, a lightning rod into women's college basketball, and the ratings spike. These arenas selling out every single time she comes to a Big Ten arena. Nebraska and Maryland and Ohio State and Michigan all sold out to watch this one person. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think if there is somebody like that in the U.S. men, now the U.S. women, of course, that winning so often with soccer. Yeah, they have that, but I think we got some great ideas going for this. We need somebody who you train, Alex, that you just ship them off, and then we'll catch them and we'll elevate them to because you got so much talent out there. You can spare a little for the statessiders.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would say that we where we are. There's again, if people want to reach out, I've got some documentaries for you guys if you're interested. It shows and documents that the southeastern talent market that we've got. Bukayo Saka, Joe Aribo, who's just represented Nigeria. I actually coach his nephew at the moment. He plays for me for my club, my local team. And I've been lucky that these sort of people have grown up and lived within the vicinity of London. It is a hotbed of talent, like South London, where I've been brought up. Football is life. Football is soccer. I mean, we're talking like parents out there with a whip, with a cupcake at the end. Get them touches in. Put that ball in the top corner.
That reminds me of Danny from Ted Lasso.
Oh,
football is life.
Richmond, football is life. Trust me, in London, it's life.
Alex, send us over a goal-scoring number 10, and then I think we'll be good.
I don't know if you'll be good. You'll be better.
We'll trade you a Mahomes-rated rookie for one of your best prospects.
Oh, that's a good trade. Bartering players for cards. I love that.
I think I've got. I mean, if you're talking about my players from my soccer school, I've probably got a couple of 3-year-olds that could fit in your squad. But
oh wow, Craig, are you going to take that as a U.S. soccer representative?
Yeah, we're talking to an expert here, so yes, I will take that.
Okay.
No, but Alex, honestly, this was amazing, and obviously it's great to just chop it up with someone. We love cards just like you love it. It's just we geek out about this. It's a hobby, but the fact that you're overseas and we're just chatting right now, we talk about growing this space. This is how it's done. Making connections, getting the word out there. So this was awesome. And man, thanks for taking the time for real.
No, thanks. And like I said, everyone I've met in the hobby so far is brilliant. And I'm just trying to be that connect between people in different countries. And again, you guys have been great. It's been an honor to come on. And anyone who wants to come over to the UK, I don't run shows. I endorse all of our shows because I think it's important to grow it. Anyone who might watch this and wants to reach out and find out, the people that they need to speak to. And obviously, I know you guys hopefully are going to come out and I'll take you for an English pint, take you to a proper English pub and, you can use your accents to navigate yourself around. And I'll speak in my Southeast Cockney accent, and take down the apples and pears.
That's great. And Alex, if you go to New York and meet up with Craig, you'll have seen him for the same number of times in person as I will, too.
Valid.
And I'll be making a video about that on Instagram. What I'll probably do is, just as I know where I'm going to go and meet him, I'll probably put it on Instagram Live and run up to him with a T-shirt with his face on or something. And, I love Pulisic. And then,
really, I would definitely wear that.
You'd be like a tourist instead of I Heart NY. It would be I Heart Pulisic right there.
Exactly.
100%. Listen, they're going to have those for sale here in a couple of years. You could bet that.
Oh, 100%. 2026. That's without a doubt.
All right, Alex. Thanks again.
Thanks ever so much. Cheers, guys.
Peace.